Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Professor Chandler, for the evidence you've provided so far. I just wanted to get a bit of clarification. So you've warned about the decommissioning costs, which is already estimated over $43 billion, and it could be deducted in a way that sees taxpayers effectively, paying money back to gas companies. As Senator Pocock was saying earlier, at a time when Australians are struggling with the cost of living crisis, how do we justify making the public foot the bill and carry the cleanup costs? And from your, expertise, what safeguards would you recommend that will make sure that companies are footing the bill, especially if you're suggesting that they completely scrap PRRT and look at an alternative model? What's that going to look like? What are those safeguards?
Well, I think it's a difficult question in this sense that I suggested that the committee have a look at the UK experience. So if you're trying to capture an economic rent, then costs should be taken into account, and those would include decommissioning costs. So there's sort of a kind of a philosophical issue here as to whether it would be unfair to actually say you can't actually do that setting off. So what I suggested in my ideas at the end that you could have a look at is actually ensuring that they do the decommissioning and perhaps suspending in some way the set-off of the costs until such time as they've completed the decommissioning. So you could certainly look at some kind of, how can I put it, intermediate idea, rather than simply saying, sorry, you're not going to be able to set off the decommissioning costs.
Okay.
I mean, you could do that, but as I could imagine that that would not go down very well.
So if there was a key recommendation that you could give the government in terms of, what Australia's economic objectives should be when it comes to the gas exports tax,
yeah.
So that we can see a fair return back to the Australian people, what would that be?
What would be a fair return? Well, I mean, I think you'd have to do an analysis of what royalty rates are generally applicable, and you just simply have to pick a number. I don't have a magic figure for you and saying, well, it's 30% or 10% or something like that. I think it's a question of analysis. I say my starting point would be to say, well, what are they paying at the moment, and what would be a royalty percentage based upon a sale price of gas or a market price for gas, and then you're at least matching one with the other as a starting position. And then you have a think about, from an Australian people's point of view and in an international comparison, is that enough?
I'd say 25% is a good start. But thank you, Professor Chairman.